Hey guys, MrBookieboo here, and today I wanted to follow up on my last video, which was all about planning out your Lego city. If you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, go check it out. And in that video, I gave you some tips and strategies on how I go about planning out my layouts, and hopefully give you some ideas, and hopefully some of you are ready to start building your own Lego city. So once you've kind of drawn out your plan or mapped it out or figured out what you want, it's really important to figure out a really solid foundation for that. But before we jump too far into that, I just want to take a quick minute and say thank you to all of you, because over the past night I hit 10,000 subscribers here, and I'm just incredibly humbled and grateful for all of your support and all of your encouragement. That's been like a little personal goal for me for quite a while now. And so I was so like ecstatic when it clicked over and got that mark. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So let's talk about foundations. So like I said, you have this great plan. You want to start building. Before you do that, you want to think about where it's going to be. Is it going to be a basement, a bedroom, in a corner of a room, wherever that location is. And then the second part of that is, what's it going to sit on? It could be as simple as being on the floor. Maybe it's going to be on a dining room table or a desk. It can be, or it can go all the way to something elaborate, some type of custom setup. And there's all kinds of things in between that you could possibly do. Any of those things will work. The important part to remember is just make sure that it's really sturdy and that it's really strong and it's not going to flex. And especially you run into that issue if you have like a large span between the two legs of whatever like table you're using, because this Lego stuff is heavy. These modulars individually, they're hefty. And then once you add like a whole table full of them, and then you add cars and minifigures and trains and scenery on top of that, the weight is pretty crazy and pretty fast with this stuff. So just be aware of that. Whatever you do pick for your table, make sure that it's really sturdy. As I mentioned before, I like the IKEA tabletops. The Lindman brand is the one I use. They're exactly 3 base plates deep, so they work really well for Lego. They're really sturdy. I've had mine for years. I've had 0 flex in them, and I have fairly long spans. I've got about 4 feet of span in between like the legs or platforms that I like to use. So that's a good option. It's fairly inexpensive as well, which is always a good thing, and they come in different colors. So, some people like the black like I have. Other people I know have like more like they have like a white tabletops, and I think they might have like an ash color too. So if you want something that's a little, a little more aesthetically pleasing to whatever the room is, you can accommodate that and you can make it work. As far as those tabletops go, they also have the legs. So they have like just fixed legs you can get that are real cheap. Or you can get adjustable legs, which is what I like to use, because I like my layouts at kind of like a custom height, and it's a kind of a compromise between being low enough so that the kids can play with it and enjoy it, but also high enough so my back isn't like sore, because I don't feel like bending over all the time trying to like do stuff. So the adjustable legs give you that ability to do that. Now my layout also, I found like these pedestals that have drawers in them, and the tabletops sit on that for part of the layout, and then there's legs actually behind it, which again, the adjustable legs are perfect for that type of a setup. So if you want to do anything custom, consider getting those adjustable legs. Now, once you have the solid, like the core foundation, like the tabletop that you're using, a lot of us nowadays, it seems to be the next like evolution is to kind of go up higher. The reasons for that are many. Most importantly, especially if you want to run trains, you pick up a lot more real estate because the loop is actually hidden underneath it and the city's on top of it. So you gain a lot more space. You can fit a lot more into a smaller space. And so that is something that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to show you what I do, because I think hopefully that'll be helpful. So for the platforms, actually I have this ready to go. So everything that I do is modular, including these, the facade wall, the retaining wall in the front here. And I have this one all ready to go to pop out. So this section is just a 32 wide section of bricks. It's 2 bricks deep, and that allows me to do a little bit of this like fancy texturing, so it's not just a plain gray wall. I wanted to add a little something to it, but it's completely modular, and they just pop right out. These on the ends here, they're 2x2s that connect each of the pieces together, and so it's basically one solid mass, and you don't even know that they come apart until I actually pop it out and show people, and they're like, oh wow, that's cool. Now, the reason I do that is, Well, for many reasons, but one of the big reasons is I guarantee you if you don't do that, your train is going to derail in the back, and then good luck trying to fix that if you can't get to it easily. So just remember, accessibility is key, especially when you're running trains, but for a lot of other reasons too. You're at some point you're going to need to get to the back there, and if your tabletop goes all the way to the wall, you're not going to be able to get to it from the bottom. So the only other option is you're going to have to like disassemble huge sections of wall, or take the platform that the city's sitting on off, or something like that, and it's just going to be a mess. So plan ahead, make it modular. It helps. So what I do for the platform on top of the tabletop is I use 3/4 plywood. I've experimented with a lot of different stuff, and you can actually see, so you can see this is the tabletop, or the platform top that sits on top of the table underneath. I've experimented with lots of different materials over the years. I started out using pine. The problem with the pine is it flexes and it warps really easily, because it's usually solid cut like pine boards, but they were really cheap, and I could get them in specific lengths. That seemed like a good idea. Wasn't such a good idea. I wouldn't recommend using like press board or particle board or anything like that, because that stuff flexes really easily as well. It's not designed to hold the kind of weight. What I sell it on is 3/4 plywood. It's fairly cheap, and you can cut it to fit, and it doesn't really flex much. So it's really sturdy. It gives you a good solid foundation, because again, you have a tremendous amount of weight sitting on top of it, so you're going to get some flex. You can get it at the lumber yard, and you don't have to buy those giant 4x8 sheets of plywood, because I know that we don't all have pickup trucks or minivans to haul that stuff around with. They actually sell pre-cut sections, usually like in the more finishing lumber area, not the raw lumber part of the store. Look over there, that you can find like pre-cut stuff. They have it like in 4x4, 4x2, and maybe like 2x2 sections already cut. You also have the option, like I know like my Home Depot, they have a gigantic like wall saw. I don't even know what it's called, but it's a massive thing where they can rip giant 4x8 sheets of plywood for you and cut it to whatever dimensions you need, and they usually offer that as like a free service. So you can get what you need, you know, measure it out, figure it out. Now I will mention also though, as far as lengths, I wouldn't necessarily go with a 4x8 length of plywood. I would split that into like two, you know, or 2x8 section, or however long the section is going to be. Don't make it 8 feet long. All of my sections are, the longest span I have, I think, is about 4 feet. And then they vary though. It can be 4 feet all the way down to like 2 feet for the length, because it's just easier to move stuff around and play with stuff. If you have one giant 8-foot section, it's going to be more difficult to move it around, and it's also, you might have more flex in it at that point, because you're going to have a bigger span. At the very least, I would put more legs in between each of them. I wouldn't put just 2 legs on the end and 2 sets of legs on the end and just call it a day. You're going to want more supports to hold that up, because it's gonna bend. Which leads me into the next thing. So what kind of legs do you use to hold up this platform? So for me, what I decided is I use 2x2. So this, again, you can get at the hardware store. It's really cheap. This is like really sturdy stuff. It's not the cheap stuff. It's like the next grade up. I think this is like birch maybe. And it works really well. Now, one thing that I learned really quickly as I started building these platforms, so initially I measured the height that I wanted it to be, and I cut the piece. And so this piece is one of my masters that I use to cut. This is actually the whole height of the platform from the bottom of the table to the bottom of the platform. This is the height. So I cut a bunch of these, put them on the table, had it all set up, and it was all uneven. I discovered the floor of my house is crooked. Which leads to, you know, as best as you want to try to level the tabletops and everything else gets crooked. So it was just like a huge nightmare, and it wasn't lining up, and I was frustrated. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What I decided to do, and you can actually see there's this line right here. So what I do is I actually cut them at this line here, and I use, whoa, almost dropped it, adjustable feet. Now you can get these on Amazon, you can get these at the hardware store. They're really inexpensive. You just drill out a hole in the bottom here, and then it comes with a little grommet that you like tap in with threads, and then you just thread the leg or the foot into that, and it's completely adjustable. And it ends up being, you know, right about that height. But if you need to fine tune it, which you always, at least in my experience, all these are slightly like fine tuned to get them like perfectly level. you can easily do that. You don't have to like put the leg on, go run back to the table saw and like slice a thin little sliver off and then come back and none of that. No, just get the self-adjusting feet. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. Now, the advantages of doing this. So in addition to like getting you more space and saving space and making things, getting more bang for your buck in the city, the other advantage of having this raised up layout and going up high is the trains, because you can get more trains, more track and more train space in there. But B, if you're going to do lighting, that's where this really shines. Literally, that's a pun. I was trying to be funny. I wasn't intentionally trying to be funny. Okay, so with the lights and stuff, I get asked a lot about this, and I want to do another follow-up on lighting more specifically to show you like how exactly you do the lighting and route, all that stuff. But in the meantime, just know that if you have the platform here, and you can actually see I have one of my lighting hubs is right here, and you can actually see some of the wires and stuff for the street lamps above that actually run into that hub. So this is an example of one of the hubs that I use. I have probably a dozen of these throughout the layout, because depending on the setup and the type of modular, like Palace Cinema there's like 6 different lighting plugs, so that pretty much takes up almost the whole switch by itself. Some of the other ones might take a little bit less, but it just depends. But I have these running all over the place. So along with this, you'll also have extension cords. So I've got USB extension cords running all over the place, because the light kits that you have, the lights, they're all designed to kind of terminate at the end, at the back side of the modular, if you're doing a modular. The street lamps, they're only about 1 foot long, the actual wires with the plug on the end. And some of the newer ones, you can actually daisy chain them, one on top of, one next to another, which is really convenient. But some of the older ones, it's just like a standard USB plug on the bottom, and you have to then run some extension cords for the really long reaches. I mean, they're fairly long and they reach pretty well, but you're going to inevitably need extensions, I'll tell you that. So so you don't have a problem with that with the platform up high, because all my wires are underneath here, and it's all, I don't have to worry about hiding it. I don't have to worry about building up, doing like a Mills base plate or something like that to get everything to so that I can hide wires. Excuse me. And then also hiding these switches is tough, because you're gonna have to hide them inside modulars or build, I don't know what, to get it all to fit in there. So that's another advantage that you have with the platform. I think that pretty much covers it for this. So hopefully that's helpful. Just to remember, just to recap quickly, the solid foundation is a key for your city. It starts with the tabletop. If you're going to build it on a table, find a table that's sturdy. Find something that's semi-permanent, so that it's not going to shift around or it's not going to flex and sag. If you're going to do the platforms, highly recommend the 3/4 plywood. You can get it fairly inexpensively and get it cut to fit. And then also the 2x2 legs with the adjustable feet are really key, because it makes your life so much easier. And then just remember, make whatever you do in the front, make it accessible. So you want to have modular panels, or at least make sure that there's certain parts that you can easily remove and to get to certain areas. If you don't want to make the whole thing modular, at least certain sections of it you want to be able to reach in there, because you're going to have to get in there at some point for something. The minifigure's going to fall in there or something. It's something weird like that. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to see more of. If you want to see more detail in some other aspect of the city and building the city, please let me know in the comments, or just let me know what you think, and let me know what you guys use for your tabletops. I'm always curious to learn what other people use and what techniques you found work best for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back real soon with another video. Take care.